we've been talking so much at BlueWhiteIllustrated.com about how well Drew Allar has been doing in camp. I'm going to say this again. Drew Allar has been exceeding expectations. He has been looking excellent in camp. And maybe I shouldn't even say exceeding expectations, maybe just hitting expectations. Last night was not a great night for Drew. It wasn't a great night for many of the quarterbacks. I thought actually Jaxon Smolik looked the best, kind of
Agreed.
in that everything that we've heard about him and all the things that we've, again, reported at BlueWhiteIllustrated.com last week, that we saw what they were talking about in kind of the behind-the-scenes stuff. He had a beautiful throw on a deep in route to Caden Saunders. Unfortunately, with the rain, wasn't a great night for the receivers. Lots of drops.
He did throw the touchdown to Joey Scheffler in the back of the end zone, Schaffler, I'm sorry. But to me, that was his best throw of the night for sure, T. Frank.
Yeah, he does a great job, and he has, going back to high school, looking at his film, of being able to read the defense and hit windows down the field. Like, this is what I'm talking about when we talk about some of the issues with certain quarterbacks in college is, like, I'm going to do the thing that I'm not going to get in trouble for. So the safe thing is to check it down, or the safe thing is to throw the underneath route, even if it's incorrect, because it's not going to be intercepted. You're not trying to push it into that second or third window or to your right read. Like, honestly, just throwing it to the right read, he throws with anticipation, and like all of those are great. If he doesn't know the offense just yet, all of those hallmarks are great. Some of the stuff that Drew is doing, obviously, is a little more advanced. He's a little more in command of the offense, but his accuracy was a little bit off last night, I thought. I thought he rushed stuff, and this is something that I've been concerned about with his footwork and kind of where he is on his journey, is when he gets sped up, the ball can be off. Now, he threw some great throws down the field that were just not caught.
Well, that was going to be my question to you, T. Frank.
I didn't really like.
Yeah, that was going to be my question to you. How many passes do you think were deep passes of the ones he threw last night? Would you say 75%, 80%? It felt like almost every time he went back, most of them were going downfield.
Given that he didn't actually throw a whole lot, yeah, maybe it's higher than I think. But we're talking about like maybe 6 passes total out of 12. So, I mean, I don't think he threw the ball 20 times last night from what I recollect. The problem was
that's because it was an open practice. I'm convinced it was an open practice. Yes.
So it's just like the easy things, right? So you've got a throw on a screen out into the flat, and the receiver has to jump to grab it. That's not great. That ball needs to 9 times out of 10, that ball needs to be on target. Now, he did better on the second time, and that play worked better, but like it's just kind of some of the stuff with Sean Clifford. We if you watched him during the Packers.
Oh boy,
game,
you're gonna really upset some people.
I'm not comparing
even
the
going
two.
there, T. Frank. You kind of started to.
I'm saying that something that has been classically a problem with Sean Clifford is the easy stuff isn't always easy. He had a lot of naked bootlegs that he just beefed and threw at the feet of the Packers receivers. So, like, my point is that the stuff that you should complete 90% of the time, you have to complete it 90% of the time. That would be the only thing I was concerned about. Deep targets, like those can be tough. One of them, Khalil Dinkins, didn't get his head around in time. And like the receiver jammed, or the defender jammed him up a little bit, and he didn't get to where Drew thought he was going. There was another one that Drew was trying to loft over the corner, and Kalen King got it at the high point.
That play Kalen King made was probably the play of the night in terms of the scrimmage.
It was phenomenal.
It was. I mean, and that's one of the things to keep in mind, too. You're 100% right, is that they're playing against a very elite defense. And if you didn't see, I guess most of you listening or watching this didn't see that play because you probably weren't there, but that was an elite play by Kalen King. I mean, if you were watching that in September, October, November, you'd be out of your chair, whether you're at Beaver Stadium or on your couch or recliner or whatever it was, going nuts because it was an incredible play. I think what's hard for me, T. Frank, is that I agree with everything you just said. The problem is it's only one practice for us, right? So we only see, we being the media, the people that go to the open periods of practice for the interviews, we see 10, 15 minutes. Almost all the throws we see are on air. That was the first scrimmage. I think first scrimmage we've seen since the blue-white game, obviously earlier this year. But, I don't want to draw too many conclusions, but at the same time, I think that we should revisit this conversation in late September or maybe even middle September. I don't know. But I think we need to see what Drew Allar does in an actual game setting. And maybe that's not enough of a sample size either. Last Saturday night certainly was not. But
Yeah.
But you're 100% right. It was a tough night for the offense. There's no question. 1, 2, 3 teams. They didn't get much going. There was, again, this is an elite defense. James Franklin talked about this at Media Day, the fact that they are going against one of the best defenses in the country. So it's not crazy to think that the offense would struggle. I would, and no disrespect to West Virginia or certainly not Delaware. And some of these other teams are going to play early in the year, but you would think that when they get out there against West Virginia in prime time on September 2nd, T. Frank, that things might go a little bit better than they did going against Chop Robinson, Kalen King, and all the guys in that defense. So I'm not ready to call a whole lot of judgment on what we saw on Saturday night. At the same time, it was a tough night for the offense. There's no question. So I think some of the consistency things is what maybe jumped out to me. There was not the consistency was an issue because there was none. It was all pretty much 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out.
Yeah, and so you bring up a great point. Just in general, I was doing a little bit of work on West Virginia before the practice yesterday or on Saturday, and they are a very different defense. So one of the other things we're going to talk about, and some of the things we have to understand about this conversation too, is because they're in third down and because Penn State's defense is what it is, and their hyper man coverage. Those were tight windows that we're asking in the rain at night to be able to thread the ball into. When Penn State's offense had a chance to breathe and there wasn't pressure or tight windows, Liam Clifford was very good. I thought Liam Clifford was really good in terms of being able to settle into a zone and find an opening and just catch the ball. And this is something I talked about with Marcus Hagans and how I think he's really taken to Hagans' coaching of being in position to catch the ball, having your hips square, having your hands out, and then turning upfield as soon as possible. He was hard to bring down when he had the ball in his hands, but the defense rallied so well. So even a good catch for maybe 5 or 6 yards, that's not really doing a whole lot when for most of the night the quarterbacks are on the run and scrambling. And when we talk about
that defensive sideline was loud too, T. Frank.
Yes, they were letting everybody know about it.
They were making no mistakes about who was winning that, any play, any portion of the scrimmage, whatever. That's a pretty charged up sideline for sure.
Yeah. That's the sideline we were closest to, and I was hearing quite a bit of confidence. I'll leave out the details.
Good way to put it. Yeah.
Said, a lot of confidence from that group.
Good way to put it. Yes.
So